It's beer o'clock on Real Ale Craft Beer. Today we've got a beer from Australia and it's from Deeds Brewing Company. Looking forward to this one. It's called Lagahoo. Lagahoo. What's the matter with me? Lagahoo. It's a tropical stout coming in at 7% ABV. 7% ABV in a 440 milliliter can. It's from the fantastic Deeds Brewing Company, based in Glen Iris, Australia. Big fan of these guys. And it was sent to me by the wonderful Trav. And I'm going to first of all open the can, but whilst I open it, we'll check the smoke. Little bit of smoke, a little bit of bubbling going on the can opening. But I'm just looking over here at my beer stash, and I think this might be the last beer that was sent to me by the wonderful Trav in Australia. So without further ado, let's get the beer out into a glass and see what we get. So a tropical stout then, what are we expecting? Well, to be honest with you, I didn't know what to expect myself. I quite like the sound of a tropical stout. If I was to guess at to what a tropical stout was, and maybe a beer style has had a name change. How about this then? Perhaps this is a black IPA. If this was brewed in 2012, perhaps this would have been a black IPA. With it being black and tasting like an IPA, loads of hops, all that kind of wonderful stuff. But I think, now I've discussed this an awful lot. And I've discussed what, like I struggle with the black IPA name. And I know a lot of you guys struggle with the black IPA name. I mean, India Pale Ale is meant to be golden, clear, isn't it? It's meant to be a lighter coloured beer. Not, how can you have a black India Pale? How can it be black and pale at the same time? And I've always gone down the line of hoppy stout. But I think Deeds have actually come up with a really, really good name here in calling it a tropical stout. I think that fits the style of the beer more than hoppy stout. So we got a one finger tan coloured head, jet black beer in the glass, a little bit of amounts of carbonation rolling up the side of the glass. Let's get the aroma. Oh, first of all, it got me salivating. It's really malty. It's a really, really malty, nutty and malty, biscuity and bready, almost wort-like. So wort is that wonderful warm hot liquid that you might be lucky to have a glass of hot wort. It's really kind of Ovaltine-like, Malteser-like, without the chocolate. But very worty, very worty. Let's dive in. Cheers, everybody. Malty, biscuity, bready. Tropical stout. Now, it's a tough one. It's a real tough one. And I tell you why it's a tough one is because It's tasting like a really good export stout with some bitterness on the back end. This is much more stout-like. This is much more traditional export stout rather than what I led you into, what I believed the beer to be. Now, that's fun. That's a really fun thing to do. I've not looked at the label. I've not looked at the side of the can. The beer's come all the way from Australia, from the wonderful Trav. So thank you very much, Trav. The last beer we're going to be reviewing from you is this Lagahoo Tropical Stout. But I like guessing. I like reading on the side of the can. Tropical Stout, 7% ABV, and then going into it kind of blind-like and guessing that, oh, Tropical Stout might be the new word for a black IPA. That's where we were going. That's where we were going with this beer, but it turns out it's completely different. It's an export stout. Maybe I'm a little bit unlucky and the hops have dropped out a little bit. Maybe the hops have dropped out a little bit here and I should be having something a little bit more like a black IPA. In fact, tipping that last bit of beer into the glass from the can has exposed a little bit of that kind of hoppiness. It's offering a little bit of that plum, fig and prune flavour. It's got a fantastic bitterness on the back end, it really does. But it's rich and creamy and smooth and lovely. Have a look at that beer as I rock it back and forth. You can see that carbonation chasing the head of the glass. One finger tan coloured head, beer rolling around in the glass. You can see the quality of the beer. You can see how thick. You can see why I would think it was an export stout, because export stouts definitely have that big thick creaminess, and you can see as I rock the beer back and forth, it's definitely got that big rich creaminess going on. There's a lag between the carbonation and the liquid, and that shows you the body, how bold and big and fat, and the beer's got a great body to it. Jet black in the glass, but there is that, I spoke about the wurtiness earlier on in the review. It is a little wurty. It is a little kind of that flavour of hot wort coming through. And I like that sometimes in a beer because it exposes the beer to what it really is. And that's a malty alcoholic drink. And that essentially is what beer is. But I like that. I like the fact that we're having a bare bones export stout here with all that biscuity, chocolate, coffee, caramel, malty flavours coming through. A little bit of sweetness to begin with. Lots of bitterness on the back end. It's a fab beer. It's a fab beer. You think of the Caribbean, palm trees, sandy beaches, sun and crystal blue water gently lapping at your feet. As you drift into the thought, you can taste the cocktail as you avoid its tiny umbrella. And the dull thud in the distance was surely leather on willow. And this may be all true during daylight hours, but eventually the sun sets and the darkness descends. Of the creatures crawling and creeping in the dead of night, the Lagahoo is by far the worst to meet. Headless, chained and part wolf, this shape-shifting monster will fall at any unlucky souls who cross its path. Our Lagahoo Tropical Stout serves as a reminder. Sometimes you are a stranger in a strange land. A dark liquid pours with notes of burnt caramel, chocolate, coffee and dark fruits. It's the perfect reason to deadbolt the door, shut the blinds and enjoy a stout rather than taking that walk. I like that. I like that. Yeah, don't take the walk, guys. Sit in your... Deadbolt your door and drink a big stout. I don't go out by night much. I very rarely go out by night these days. I used to in my younger days. Blimmin' heck, I used to be out. Flipping heck, I used to be out all hours years ago. But settled down now, wife and kids, and happy days. Happy to deadbolt the door these days, to be honest with you, and drink a tropical stout from Deeds Brewing Company. I'm going to go now. I'm going to say thank you very much to Trav for sending me the beer. It's been a wonderful parcel that he sent. I still got a lot of the food to review from the parcel. I've literally done not much at all with the food, but I will get round to it. Vegemite and jerky. some noodles as well, which we're going to get into, all from Australia. But anyway, rating this beer, I really like it and drinking it. So I'll be honest with you, I've done a couple of beer reviews before this, and drinking this 7% stout has really elevated my mood. It really has. I was on this time yesterday. I was on an aeroplane flying back from France, from Toulouse Airport, flying back to London Gatwick. And I took travel sickness tablets because I struggle with buses and planes and all these type of things. So naturally I kind of take these tablets and I'm sleeping in the chair type of thing for hours on end. But when I reached Gatwick, I then had to get on from Gatwick and then drive home. And it was a drive home where I was thinking, yeah, our holiday's really finished now and it's done. And the first couple of beer reviews of the day were a little bit like, man, I wish I was still on holiday. But this one makes me realise just how much of a terrific job I have in reviewing beer from all around the world. Absolutely love it. This was a tremendous stout from Deeds Brewing Company. Trav, you're a legend. Thanks for sending. I'm going to rate this. I'm going to give it a 10 out of 10. I think it's terrific. 10 out of 10 from Real Ale Craft Beer. Please put your comments in the comments box. Subscribe to our daily beer and food reviews. Give us a big fat thumbs up. Boom. Cheers.